Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. It's going to be the final stream before Christmas. I said that yesterday, and then Jake messaged me today at like 12 o'clock and went, do you fancy a cheeky stream? So, you know, maybe somebody else might message me tomorrow and maybe I have to hop on again. But this is probably going to be the final stream before Christmas. So, of course, Merry Christmas to everybody and I hope you have a great time and all that. But there is lots to talk about within the world of FPL as Game Week 18 starts very, very soon. And there is a lot to talk about with Bukayo Saka looking like he's going to be out injured for multiple weeks. And, of course, the Mateus Cunha ban looming as always. And Jake's here as well, which has been a while, mate, hasn't it? It has been a while.
Yeah, it wasn't a do you fancy a cheeky stream? It was I'm addicted to crack and I need your help.
Yeah.
Get me to ASAP, as I'm sure everyone is going to soon find out.
Yeah. Your team has taken a little bit of a nosedive over the past 2 weeks. And Sean, who came on about 2 weeks ago, has actually had like a meteoric rise over the past few weeks. So maybe what we're learning here is my advice is actually quite good.
Yeah, I've definitely spent the last 2 weeks doing some interesting things. Some have paid off, but the most obvious decisions have kind of gone astray in my brain, and probably because I've just not had this kind of grounding chat.
I think it is like grounding chat. It's like when you pitch like a really stupid idea to your parents and they kind of grind it down a little bit so it becomes a more stable idea. I feel that's kind of the relationship we have, really.
Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah.
More so, well, it's a bit of a one directional thing, though. To be honest.
No, you provide me with some good ideas
Yeah,
sometimes.
but you don't come up with you don't come up with like shitty rogue ideas. You just doubt yourself.
Yeah,
I come up
there is
with
a lot of
ideas
doubt.
just wrong, just
There,
outright wrong.
there is a lot of doubt. There is a lot of doubt. I can already see we've got some absolute legends in the chat as well. Jessica, who became a channel member last night, so thank you very much for that. A Turkey in a Bush also in the chat, another one of our channel members as well. Jake's also a channel member, so we're full of channel members today. Look at this. I nearly said this evening. It's not evening, it's afternoon. I've got to remember that. Do keep your questions in as well. And if you do vote other on the poll, get it in the chat who you think the best Saka replacements are. I put the ones that a lot of people have been talking about on Twitter, but I do feel like it's quite an open and varied topic, to be honest, the Bukayo Saka replacements. Obviously, Jake, you don't have Bukayo Saka, which is probably quite a fortunate position to be in for yourself.
To some extent, I think. Well, it saves the obvious transfer that everyone will want to make. But that doesn't mean that I'm in the right and everyone else is in the wrong, because I have missed out on a few decent hauls from him. I don't think I've had him at all this season. So there's a lot of points there that have gone a begging, and I'd say 8 or 9 times out of 10, he's outscored the alternatives that I've gone for. So yeah, I think fine. Maybe now it's looking all right for me because it saves me a transfer. But he's definitely been a worthy player to have in your fantasy team, and he will be missed, I'm sure.
Yeah. Agreed. Obviously, we'll talk about Saka replacements. I do have a whole slide ready for that one. But let's not waste any more time. Let's dive straight in and talk about Mr. Jake's team. Here you are, mate. Talk me through it. 80 points, which is a very, very small red arrow. But there's a big... Actually, I've got the wrong team up. That's my team. There you go. There's your team. I was going to say there was a lack of Ahmed captain. I saw Salah sat on 42. Go on, talk me through this team, mate, because it's actually a pretty good game week, bar the captaincy decision.
It would have been my best game week of the season, and that's including the game week in game week 2 where I triple captain Haaland. I've not broken the 100 club at all this season, and this would have still been 1 point shy had I done so. Done the obvious elephant in the room and captain Salah. But yeah, a really good game week. I made the right transfers. I'd accumulated 3 free transfers. Mostly because I thought it would be something that we'd talk about on the stream, but got to the point where I needed to change it. So in the end, took it upon myself. I had been flirting with Jacob Murphy for several weeks, and he just seemed to be getting better and better. He got 2 assists the week that I was debating him. Then he played a blinder last week, and I was like, I've just got to get him in here. I've got Curtis Jones, who's only actually got any kind of haul when he played Newcastle, and I benched him. So I was like, I can rely on Jacob Murphy to at least play at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, put him in, and he got a goal and an assist, I believe. And I've since seen the assist, and my word, he seems to be a man on form at the moment, doesn't he?
Definitely so, definitely so. It's a proper cheeky little assist, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really nice. Great finish as well for his goal. She could have had another assist had Isak had his shooting boots on.
Yeah.
Which is a little ironic because of how he performed over the course of the match. But yeah, Lewis Hall, he's been solid. He got me a really nice haul
Nice.
a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, he's been very steady since I've brought him in. Matty Cash, I think that's the main thing. I would have been talking about him over the fact that I went for Salah, Diallo over Salah for captain. I would have been speaking about the Matty Cash clean sheet that was lost in the last minute to stop me from entering the 100 club. But I don't have to talk about that today because the elephant in the room is the fact that I've once again, for some reason, refused to back Mohamed Salah. The only reasoning I have behind it is didn't I didn't have the confidence I clearly should have had for this Spurs game. I felt like watching Spurs, they're very entertaining to watch, of course, but they seem to be up for it whenever they played a side that they would, on paper, find difficult to beat. They very comfortably beat City, and albeit everyone seems to be beating them at the moment, but they've really put on a game against anyone that they've played against. And I know Chelsea got the better of them eventually, but I just thought this is going to be a tough game, and evidently Spurs were a shambles. And Salah, he's got a great knack of not having the best game of his life, but coming away with 4 goal contributions, and 2 of which were tap-ins. But you can't fault it. He's in the right place at the right time, influential in the result, and I avoided him. The one time I did captain him over the past 2 months, I think he got at most an assist, if that. And I think Cole Palmer and my team had done. It might have been the week that Chelsea played Spurs. So I just thought, you know what? I don't fancy. I'm not confident or comfortable backing Liverpool to a comfortable win. Sounds silly now, but also if I don't captain him, I feel like he's more likely to do something than if I do. So I just didn't want to jinx it. So aside from fantasy, I can't really complain. But in fantasy, yeah, the captaincy choice was a bit of a strange one. I think the only alternative would have been I would have gone for Haaland. I don't know whether I would have gone for Palmer. Maybe I would have done, but regardless of which, if I'd gone for Palmer, you would have forgiven me, and he literally got 1 more point, didn't he?
No, I wouldn't have forgiven you if you went for Palmer either.
Why?
I said this in the stream. I was like, I don't know why people are going for Palmer when Everton look quite good defensively.
Fair enough. Well, it doesn't take a smart guy to see that Palmer is a clearly better shot than Diallo.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm still reluctant to go for Salah, as we'll see, because I just don't want to jinx him.
All right. Let's look at the teams lined up for this week. So, how many transfers you got? Just the one?
Just the one, yeah. I brought Diallo in. I brought Robinson in. He got a clean sheet, which was nice. And of course, I brought Jacob Murphy in. So on the whole, for the 3 transfers, especially of United's fixtures to come, I'm actually confident that they are 3 good transfers to have made.
Oh, okay. Talk me through the team then. Obviously, I've given the armband to Erling Haaland, which you requested. So talk me through the rest of the team. I think it looks pretty decent for this week, to be honest. I don't necessarily think there's any transfers I'd make there.
No, I feel like, especially with there being such a quick turnaround over the next the next couple of game weeks, it is one where I think now that I've made my 3 transfers, I'm happy with this weekend's, this game week's fixtures that everyone has on paper, because I want to maybe accumulate a couple or 3 free transfers again. It's nice to be able to switch the team around in bulk, which is a real pleasure I've had this last game week, because I don't think I'd accumulated that many all season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'd like to do that again. And like you say, there's no major issues with my team. The starting 11 seems pretty solid. I think a massive shout out to Tom, who's actually gone against his own recommendation of keeping the same keeper in all season. But it's worked wonders for me because I think if I think about it, the games which Pickford has actually got the best points haul in, the Arsenal away, the Chelsea at home yesterday, and of course Newcastle at home when he saved the penalty and kept a clean sheet, I probably would have benched him.
Yeah.
So it's really worked out perfectly for me having him in. So of course I'm not fussed about how he does against City, and who knows at the moment with City.
Exactly.
Yeah, happy with the Liverpool players, even though they do seem to be a little bit more open at the moment. But maybe the Spurs game is a bit of an odd one. However, they have shipped what 8 goals in 3 games, so maybe something to keep an eye on. But you'd like to think against Leicester they could keep a clean sheet. Palmer, Murphy, just looking at it now, Ahmad, Rodgers, all sound. I don't know how that Newcastle game's going to go. There's probably an argument for playing Cash, but I don't know who I'd play him instead of, especially with just how good Newcastle seem attacking wise. I don't see Villa keeping a clean sheet, especially when they're playing away. But I guess you can't really drop Rodgers either because I think a few people fell for the fact that they benched him and he was brilliant against City. So yeah, I think on the whole, it's the team is not the issue; it's the captaincy choice that is the dilemma. And I'm sure you're going to come back to me and say there's no bloody dilemma.
No, there isn't a dilemma. I think it's so clear it has to be Mohamed Salah. Leicester are genuinely woeful at the moment. Really, really bad defensively. Everton have been quite astute. So I think it's clear and obvious which way to go with captaincy. It's Mohamed Salah.
The only thing I think is Everton have been astute, but I do think when they concede, they concede.
Okay.
I just don't see them keeping a clean sheet at City. I think that's a little bit of a step too far. Even when City have been losing, they've not been struggling to score as such. Maybe they've struggled in comparison to how they have played before their poor form, but they still find the back of the net. And with them being at home, surely City's poor run has to come to an end at some point soon. And I just feel like that. Yeah, that's the only reason I had Haaland captain. I know, I could argue that Salah could be jinxed if I captain him, but I think it would take a lot for Salah to be jinxed at home to Leicester. So I do completely take your point on that. But I think I've had Haaland through everything that he's been through, and he's just had no service, to be fair to him. But even when he has, he's not scored as many as he should have done, maybe. And for the premium price that I'm paying at home to Everton is something that I really should be backing someone like Haaland with. Of course, the only issue is Salah's at home to Leicester. So it's a really tricky one for me because I just feel like I could captain Salah and then Haaland will do better than him. It's just going to happen. But I do think the sensible thing is that I switch that up.
Yeah, agreed. The only thing I would say on that is Haaland at this point, right, is going to be the biggest differential already. Right?
Just the fact that I've got him.
Nobody has him at the moment. So he's already going to be a differential, so you might as well go with Salah, and it just keeps you with the pack with everybody else. That's the way that I'd look at it.
If Haaland does bits and Salah doesn't, then...
Well, if Haaland does bits, no one's got him, so it doesn't really matter. You're already gaining points on people.
Yeah, I know, but you could be gaining double.
No, but there's no point gaining double because if Salah pops off again, you're losing that double.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah. So I think just sticking.
Yeah, it's no, you are right. There is absolutely no dilemma whatsoever. I think I'm just a little bit
delusional.
What?
I said delusional.
Possibly. I'm just a bit superstitious over it, I think, because the one time I did fully back Salah, he did nothing. And I was like, oh, that's fully down to me.
Maybe. But I probably think not. I don't think so. Leicester are really bad. Genuinely, watch the Wolves highlights from yesterday and you'll go, right, I need to captain Salah.
Yeah. Do you think Strand Larsen should play?
Good question, really. He could maybe start ahead of Jacob Murphy, you know. I think that's probably the one that I'd maybe go for.
I don't know about that.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think there's a clear option.
For Evan Nilsson, because Evan Nilsson's gone a bit off form and he doesn't stay on the pitch.
Yeah, he has stunk the gaff up a bit recently, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe. I reckon that one might be a coin flip decision.
How much is Jesus, by the way?
6.7.
I could afford Jesus if I took Evan Nilsson out, you know.
There you go. That's a tasty. I'm all for that. I don't mind that as an option.
Who have Arsenal got?
Ipswich.
Oh.
Yeah, at home. Oh. At home, lad.
Oh. Okay, well maybe that stack up of transfers may not be happening.
Yeah. That is a tempting move. Evan Nielsen's been dusty recently.
Yeah, he has, and Jesus just seems to have slapped form. I think they made a very good decision Arteta made a very good decision to keep him in the team after his hat-trick. I actually thought about it, being like, oh, do I put him in fantasy? And then laughed at my stupidity and was like, that's one of the worst shouts I've ever made. Now let's be sensible and captain Diallo.
Yeah.
See,
that's a tasty option. That is a tasty option. A bit of Jesus time.
Well, that's something to consider. But yeah, other than that, the team I think is all right. Especially with, like I say, the congestion of fixtures. Who knows how teams are going to perform and who gets rotated?
Yeah, agree. I think it's sensible over this period to be looking at number one, players that play consistently, and number two, not trying to use transfers probably on silly things and have a stack ready, because there's so many games, there's going to be injuries, there's going to be players getting dropped and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe building might be the right idea. Someone's just said Jesus is on 4 yellows as well.
How's he managed that? He hasn't even bloody played the game.
I have no idea. I've genuinely no idea, and I need to check if that's correct, because
more yellows than goals.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, where's he picked up these yellows?
Do the yellows still accumulate from the start of the season to this stage?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it is. He must have come off the bench and kicked a few people.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick look at it. How many yellows he's actually picked up? To be honest. And then we'll answer some questions and move on to my team. Let's have a look. Stats. Well, he's only started 3 games, so he's doing well to have picked up that many yellows. Yeah, he's picked up 4 yellow cards and started 3 games. Gabriel Jesus, man. He's
going to be his own biggest downfall, isn't he? Because he's getting a little run of games, and then he gets that yellow card, misses a game, and someone else takes his place because they do great.
Yeah, I don't even think many people know that Jesus is on 4 yellow cards. That's a great shout. That's a great spot.
Yeah, because if he's that prone to a yellow in his little game time, then it does add a little worry. But then when you're playing Ipswich, you just take that punt. That's the thing.
Yeah. But at the same, but I would probably look at him and be like, I probably would only want him for maybe like a 3-week period. And then I'd probably want him out again because he'll probably be back off form or his legs come off.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Right, let's answer some questions before we move on to my team. Jake, any final thoughts on your team? Or
no, let's move on.
All right, gorgeous. Someone was questioning your Harry was questioning your captaincy decision. He asks, "Are you mad?" So yeah.
Is that a little joke? Like, I'm mad.
Someone said, "Is Haaland now going to be the best differential?" Potentially.
They've got a really good run of games, but what's a good game at the moment? I think I've been thinking this for about 3 weeks, saying that surely the games have got to turn for them, but it's a generational lack of form, isn't it, from City? It really is outweighing any other previous champions, like, lack of form. It reminds me of when Chelsea won the league and then dropped off, but even with them, I think they were just inconsistently bad. I don't think they went on such a poor run of games with 1 win in 12. I saw on Twitter that he's only 4 games off Mick McCarthy.
Yeah. Can't get any worse, can it, Mick? It can.
It can.
Someone said, "Please help me decide between who to transfer in, Gabriel Jesus or Havertz." If you had to pick one right now, who would you go for?
I'll go for Jesus. Take the gamble.
I probably would take the gamble on Jesus, to be honest. If
he gets suspended, you don't even necessarily have to take him out and waste the transfer. You can just hold him and bench him. because I imagine your team will have enough rotation in it to have one player suspended. And when they're playing Ipswich and he's in the form that he's in, and I think Arsenal have come back clicking with their first choice defenders, with Rice, with Odegaard, and with a guy that can actually finish the chances. And even when Saka went off, they didn't seem to lose any kind of momentum.
Yep. How's free cheap midfielders looking? And it means then I can get Isak, Jackson, Trent, and Gabriel. I mean, the cheap midfielders, there seems like a good quality of them at the moment. You've got Sarr, you've got Ahmed, who's in Jake's team, Enzo, Rogers, who we've both got as well. There is a good selection of them. And I think I remember back to saying this last year on a stream with you when Cole Palmer was kicking off. And we said sometimes you have to not look at a player's price. Look at what they're actually doing on field. Because, like, I remember we were talking last year about Cole Palmer being a captaincy option. And in the back of people's minds, they were going, well, yeah, you know, he's only 6 million, so I can't captain him. And you're like, well, why can't you captain him? He's producing numbers that are at the same level as premiums. And you look at all these these cheap midfielders, and they're all doing better than the Mbuemos, the kind of Bowens, the Gordons. They're all putting up very similar numbers. So we probably should treat them like that, right?
Completely.
Yeah, I thought you were going to add a little bit more there.
Yeah, I completely and wholeheartedly agree with what Tom said.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they could be decent. Solanke or Chris Wood? Asked Michael.
I'd have to see what the fixtures are looking like, because I do think Solanke's a good shout, because as bad and as inconsistent as Spurs have been, Spurs score goals and he's involved. Even though they got battered yesterday, he got a goal and assist and very tidy finish. I do think he's hitting a little bit of form, getting a bit consistent in front of goal for Spurs. I think that's a nice move. Chris Wood, he's in a very strong team. They're doing really well. But he's not quite as consistent at the moment. But he's on penalties, and I highly doubt that Solanke is. So I think for me, it would really come down to what the fixture list looks like for both of them.
Yeah, agreed. Jamie makes a great point here as well. Haaland is only 3% owned in the top 100k. Says it all really. Imagine how good the rest of their team must be to be carrying that. Yeah, he's really fallen out of favour within the top 100k and a lot of the more engaged managers as well. So when we come onto my team, I will talk a little bit more about Haaland and maybe a plan to bring him in, but we'll have to have a think about it. Orange Apple says thoughts on Trossard and Jesus. I mean, we've kind of already spoke about Jesus, so any thoughts towards Trossard as an option, maybe?
Possibly. I think he came off the bench, didn't he, and got an assist?
Yeah.
Get me wrong, but I imagine he'll start. I don't think that's a bad gamble, because with Saka being out, he should start. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it.
Yeah, I think I probably would maybe prefer other midfield options rather than Trossard for me personally. I think I probably would prefer an Ahmed, a Sarr, an Enzo over Trossard in my personal opinion.
You'd have Enzo over Trossard, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think I'd be Trossard over Enzo. I get it with Ahmad, and I get it with an attacking midfielder. I even like Sarr at the moment. I think he's looking really decent. And someone's given a shout out for Jacob Murphy, which is completely true. He's probably the best player in the league at the moment.
I'm not having this. I can't believe he's done it again. I genuinely can't believe it. He's done it again.
Yeah, you were the main conspirator to stop me bringing him bloody in.
He didn't score for 13 months. I can't help that.
Yeah, what was it you said in the chat? Oh, he's got 2 goal contributions since August, and since then he's tripled it in 2 weeks.
No, yeah. Who was it?
He's definitely seen what you've written and gone, nah, I'm not having that.
No, I think that was Gabby Jesus. I put that one in for. He'd only had 2 goal contributions in 8 months. And then Jacob Murphy was 1 goal in 13 months as well. It was oh God, what's going off? Oh dear.
He's the desired man at the moment.
He is. A lot of people want him. But I still would avoid him like the plague. So yeah. Right, we'll answer some more questions in a little while. Let's head on then over to my team and see how I got on in game week 17. And you know what? We're back. We are back and we are massive. You know what I mean? There's no hiding from it. A massive 102 points. So, some of us are in the 100 club. We get our captaincy decisions right. Not throwing any shade towards your way, Jake. Don't worry about it. But overall, a pretty good week, to be honest. Ola Aina with a 15-pointer. Wasn't expecting that, so we'll take that as a bit of luck. Cunha getting a goal and free bonus. You love to see it. And then Alexander Isak as well with a nice, tasty hat-trick. So really, really happy that I've got him. Morgan Rogers sat on the bench. Wasn't great, and I was umming and ahhing between him and João Pedro on the deadline stream, and I wish I'd gone for it, but hey, hindsight's a bitch. But overall, another cracking week. Inside the top 150k players now, which is ridiculous considering where I was back in game week 7, which was 5.2 million. So yeah, we've had a pretty meteoric rise. I've kind of left Jake in the dust, to be honest, because at one point we were kind of neck and neck for a few weeks. And now it's kind of I think there's a bit of a gap.
It's all come down. There's two major decisions, and that is getting rid of Haaland at the right time.
Yeah.
And not sleeping on Salah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think I have been captaining Palmer a few weeks as well. So
yeah, but most of the time when you have, it's paid off. Like the Spurs are paid off. Last week, I don't think he captained Salah, but it may not have gone quite as well. But 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, you've captained the correct player.
Yeah, I have. Someone said really nice team, but not convinced of the sustainability of it. Right? they don't like.
Is he looking for is it leaking too many greenhouse gases or something?
It's terrible. It's a terrible team going forward. But we'll talk about that. We will talk about that because I do have free transfers in hand. So let me bring that up very quickly. So yeah, I've got free transfers in hand to play with going into this game week. And ideally, right, and I genuinely mean this, if Saka was fit and available, I think I probably would have rolled to 104. To roll to 4, sorry. Not 104. I would have rolled to 4 transfers.
Take those transfers to next season.
Yeah, take them to next season. But I would have rolled. I probably would have rolled to 4 because I think that team's fine to play out next week. Obviously, there's a few players in there that look a little bit dicey on the fixtures, but I'm not worried about teams like United and Tottenham anymore. I'm happy to play my players against them because I think they're absolutely crap. So I'd be very, very happy to play them. So let me talk you through my transfer plans as it stands if Cunha is fit and available and not suspended or banned or anything like that. So the transfers that I've got in mind would be Saka to Bruno Fernandes, João Pedro to Nicholas Jackson, and leave it at that.
Would you not want to save money on bringing Ahmad?
Ahmad, no. I want Bruno Fernandes.
Fair enough.
And then the following week, we would do Brian and Buemo to either Enzo, because they've got Ipswich, or we could look at Ahmad there, and then upgrade Cunha to Mateta.
Hey, you said to me behind closed doors you're looking at Haaland.
Well, there is that plan as well. That's plan number 1, right? So what do you think of that as a plan? If Cunha's not banned. So this week, Jackson would come in for João Pedro. Saka would be replaced with Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay. Right.
That's all I've got to say.
Nothing
Sorry.
else, just not bad. Right, okay. Insightful as ever. Yeah.
I mean, you could go to Jesus.
No, I don't fancy the Jesus one. I feel like it's just not really a me pick this season. You know what I mean?
You've not got any Arsenal attackers now, and
I know. They're playing Ipswich.
Right.
They're playing Ipswich, and they'll probably batter them. But I think I might just be like, you know what? Let's just not have him. It's just a bit of a risk, a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can talk you through my other transfer plan that involves Haaland, though.
There's nothing more in the world that I would like to hear right now.
Okay, so it'd be Saka down to Ahmed. and Buemo down to Enzo, and then Cunha up to Haaland.
It's not bad, to be fair.
It's not bad. It ain't bad.
You've kept Isak as well. That's solid, that.
Yeah. But it is that City
I
run
think if
that's...
you're going to do that, if you're tempted that much by Haaland, I think you've got to give it a week, don't you? Or a game week.
But if I give it a week, I would be then priced out of that move.
Why?
Because I'd be bringing in Jackson for João Pedro. And at that...
No, sorry, I meant you need to roll.
But I don't really want to roll. I mean, I could play
Don't
Rodgers instead of Saka.
Yeah?
I could play Rodgers instead of Saka and have 4 for next week. Jake, why have you told me that?
Oh, you'd have 4 transfers, Tom.
I would have 4 transfers. It might be
Where
a
are they
bit...
playing? I can't see. Oh, it's Newcastle, isn't it?
Yeah. Not a bad fixture, that.
I think it'll be a goals game. I can't see Villa keeping a clean sheet, so I can see why you bench Konza, but I don't mind Rodgers at all.
Yeah, I could put Rodgers
Seems to
into the
connect
Saka.
well with both strikers, really.
Yeah, maybe bench Saka, take 4 into the following week, because then Haaland goes against Leicester.
And then you know, probably by then, the outcome of Cunha.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Cunha will be banned for the United game anyway.
Yeah.
Like, we've heard absolutely nothing, and it's going to be Christmas in 2 days.
Keep it. Let's just have 4 going into the weekend.
Yeah.
Or just play it by ear, because you never know if it might. You've got a couple of days at least until Boxing Day games, and by then you'll at least know that Cunha is definitely going to play the game.
Yeah, agree. Yeah. I can wait a little bit on that one.
Because if he gets banned, I do understand why he'd want to make the moves.
Yeah. Well, my other thought is if Cunha gets banned, right? I could take a -4. So actually no, I could just use all my free transfers. So I could do Cunha to Jackson, João Pedro to Jesus, and Saka to Bruno, and use all free transfers if Cunha's
Not
banned.
bad. Not bad
It's
at all.
not a bad selection, is it either?
And then Rodgers back on the bench.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. I don't mind that.
No, I don't mind that either.
But I get why you wouldn't want to waste it again with Cunha against Man United. If he
Like-
plays against United, he should get some kind of attack in return.
That's why I'm happy to play 8 Nuri as well. I was reading press conference notes from the manager, and he said that he's been playing him as a right winger in training. Give me that 100% against Manchester United. We'll sort him out in a few weeks' time, but for now, give me that against Manchester United because they are terrible.
Yeah.
Everyone's laughing at me in the chat, by the way, for talking about Haaland.
Are they?
Yeah, there's a few
We
people.
definitely-
They're not a fan of the Haaland move. They don't want it. But I just look at it like this, right? City can't keep losing games. They can't.
I know, but I said this in game week. I think I said this 7 or 8 games into their defeats.
No, but it can't keep happening. Right, look at the run of games they've got coming up after Everton.
It's really good, isn't it?
After Everton, Everton I think could hold them to a draw. Okay, right? They could hold them to a draw.
I don't think they will.
Okay, but at least you'd say that Everton I don't think will get battered. I personally don't think that. Off recent performances from Everton. Then
But Everton's resolute defence drawing 0-0 can't last either because they're due a stupid defeat, I think, as well.
Yeah. Then, right, let's look at the following week. Leicester away. If Wolves can put 3 past Leicester and look like they're going to score more, what's City going to do? I know they're not functioning, but people were looking at that Wolves side and saying they weren't functioning.
Well, we'll see how Leicester respond when they play Liverpool as well. They got Liverpool and then City. That's going to work them to the ground.
Exactly. West Ham, they're crap. I don't care. They are terrible. They're garbage. Brentford, garbage. And then we've got Ipswich, garbage. Surely they have to batter one of those teams across that period and Haaland's involved.
Yeah, you would think so.
And against Leicester and Ipswich, you probably argue best captaincy option.
or you'd be tempted. So you're saying to me, right? Just let me get this straight.
Go on, go on, go on.
So whatever you do, come rain or shine, but let's say you do it in the way that it allows Haaland to be in your team when they play Leicester,
Yeah.
and Liverpool got West Ham. You're captaining Haaland.
Well, this is the thing, right? I could either captain Haaland or Palmer that week because Palmer's got
Chelsea got.
Ipswich.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I think I would captain Palmer. Oh God, that's even got me.
Yeah.
I think I'd captain Palmer over Haaland that week. I think I might have to.
Yeah, and then that's my thinking. If I'm not going to captain Haaland that week, then do I really want him?
Salah away at West Ham, like that, even that could go off a little bit.
Exactly. I think that'll be a week as well where probably they're both plus 100% effective ownership on that one.
Bloody hell. The dilemmas, eh? Well, I think you're in a good position to hold out for one more game, because you can bring Rodgers in, like you said. You fell for benching him last time. Maybe that's a sign, but it also allows for the fact that you've got an extra couple of days just to see if anything's resolved with Cunha. But I do agree. I don't think they're going to be that bothered. They're probably already on the holidays, the FA.
Like, I said this to Sean on the phone this morning. I went, that office isn't open. That's closed for Christmas, that is. No way is anybody in today.
Yeah, so I think you'll be fine for that. So then you've got a starting 11 and then some duds on the bench if need be. And then come Saturday, you can do whatever the hell you like.
Here's an idea, though. What about Foden rather than just looking at Haaland? I could just do Foden for Saka.
You could. I don't think he played very well. I know he scored, but I don't think anyone. I mean, I say that like Haaland was any better, but I don't know. I think the thing with Foden is there's always that chance he'll just suddenly get benched.
Yeah, but I mean, who are they benching him for at the moment? There's no one there. They've got nobody left.
Has De Bruyne just given up again?
He looks like it. He was back on the bench, wasn't he, at the weekend?
Was he on the bench?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, his legs are really starting to wake, aren't they?
Yeah. Golden Goals in the chat. He says, "All right, lads. Currently sat in Quick Fit, getting a new tyre."
Oh, nice.
He says, "No one is banning Cunha before the new year." Bit of a joke, really. Yeah, it's not happening, is it?
It's a massive joke, especially for the likes of Ipswich and Leicester and that. Especially for Ipswich, who have gone and beaten them. Yeah. And then he's kind of attacked. I don't know. I think
he's attacked someone.
All right. Well, he's grabbed someone's glasses.
Yeah.
And he's not being banned. And okay, fine. You could argue it's a blessing in disguise for like when they're playing against Leicester because it's a fellow relegation battler. But to be playing United, it gives them a massive chance of getting something against United, and that's a game where if he was banned, maybe United would have a better chance of getting something, getting all 3 points, and pushing them straight back down into the doldrums with the likes of Leicester and Ipswich. So I think that is a little bit poor when you're in a league as big as the Premier League. Really, the FA should be striking down on that, and he shouldn't have played against Leicester. That should be a retrospective ban happening, effective immediately when you attack someone.
Yeah.
What's there to work out?
What is
He's grabbed someone's glasses off their face. That should be at least a match or two.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm happy taking his points, and I'll be happy to take more points.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah. It's actually great owning him as well. Golden Goal, while we've got you in the chat, what do you think about Haaland back in? We've obviously been having a debate about it, so it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on that one as well. But we'll move on. We will talk about Saka replacements because that's going to be the hot topic for most FPL managers this week. On screen, we do have a selection of them. We've got Odegaard, Bruno, Foden, Anthony Gordon, Sarr. We've obviously spoke about Enzo, Ahmed as well. So there's plenty of options. Right now, Jake, if you had Saka in your side, who would you go for?
Well, I think I'd bring in Ahmad. I think Ahmad's a good shout. But for myself, I think if I had Saka, I think I'd be trying to... If it was just a selfish plan, I'd be looking to get Isak in So it'd be someone as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
I like the look of Sarr. I think he's looked quite bright recently. I understand why people would be tempted by the likes of Foden, Odegaard, and Bruno. I think Foden, though, his goal might have tricked people into thinking that he's back. I think we should see how things go over the next couple of weeks before jumping into that. I think you're better going for an Odegaard or a Bruno, probably more so an Odegaard. Even that's probably the safest. But if you want to save a bit of money, you could look at a Trossard. But personally, I think I'd be looking at someone as cheap as possible. So if you don't have a Rodgers, you don't have an Ahmad, you don't have a Jacob Murphy, you don't have, I don't know, I'm trying to think of Sarr. Like, they are all very good shouts to replace him if you then want to like strengthen your team elsewhere. But if you're smart and haven't got Haaland in your team, then you probably don't need to do that. It just depends on maybe saving those funds because it might give people a chance who haven't got Haaland because they've been playing the game properly. Arguably, they've taken him out, benefited from points elsewhere. Saka's got injured. Is that little bit of fate telling you that it might be time to be trying to keep an eye and keep those funds to the side for a return of Haaland?
Yeah,
Don't know. Just a way to look at it. So it might be something where you want to just replace him with someone that slashes the prices a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. Golden's put a great point here. Why not go for him? What a differential. Refuse to believe they'll be shit from an attacking perspective forever. And that's the thing. Like, they won't just keep being terrible. It can't keep happening. Something will change at some point.
Yeah, and they beat Forest, who are one of the best teams in the league this season for being dark horses. They're in the Champions League spot. And they beat them 3-0. So that City side is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It just seems, and I do feel like a lot of their lost points and stuff have been away games. I know the Spurs one was a bit of a blip, but Everton and Spurs are not the same kind of attacking outlet. I do think City will maybe not hit the ground running, but I do think they'll get all 3 points against Everton.
Yeah. An option that isn't on the screen, and I don't think I've seen it mentioned in the chat, is the Liverpool midfielders. So obviously Luis Diaz, Diego Jota as options as well. What do you think about those two?
It's a tough one really because I don't know how much who gets rotated in what game. I think with Nunez's poor form, he's less likely to feature as much maybe from the start. So that puts Diaz up top, and he looked really good in front of goal against Spurs. But I mean, the opportunities that came to him don't come to him all that often. I think Gakpo's quite fancied by Slot, and I think he's been in quite good form in front of goal. And it was probably the biggest surprise of the night that one of the goal scorers wasn't Gakpo, considering the form he's been in recently. Jota still coming back from injury. On his day, if he plays the game, plays a full 90, he gets a goal. Like he is. I've heard it said before that he's our best finisher, and I find it hard to argue with that. It's just whether he can stay fit to play. So yeah, it just kind of depends, really. I think at home to Leicester, if you're playing one of them, you've got a good chance of getting a return. It's just, I think you've just got to hope that your player that you've brought in is a player that hasn't been rested.
Yeah. I think that's the difficult one with people obviously looking at Liverpool. Like, the fixtures are good over that Christmas period, but do I want to go there and risk it and dice around with that Liverpool attack? Probably not. I think maybe I'd rather take a gamble on like a Trent rather than a Diaz for me personally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that might be the better option. Moving on to the cheaper mids then. Obviously, you alluded to maybe bringing some of those in to free up some funds and stuff like that. Out of Sarr, Ahmed, Enzo, we'll chuck a Wobie in there and Rodgers. Out of all those, how would you probably rank them?
What, the ones that we've mentioned?
Yeah, so rank them 1 to 5 in terms of order you'd bring them in if you own none of them.
On the players on the screen are the ones that we've mentioned?
No. So the cheap ones. So Sarr, Ahmed, Enzo, Iwobi, and Rodgers.
Well, you've not mentioned Jacob Murphy for one.
No, and there's good reason for that. And Jacob Murphy's never getting mentioned again on this stream.
I rate Jacob Murphy higher than Enzo because
Wow.
Enzo had a very good run of games, and your tune has changed very much, Tom, because you said this yourself. Because he's not that kind of player. He just had a purple patch. Now, he does get opportunities, but I just feel like with the position that Jacob Murphy's playing in, he's bound to get more opportunities, and he's going to be in more goal scoring opportunities. For me, I think I really like Saar. I don't know what their fixtures are like. I know they've got
Good.
Bournemouth next,
Good.
so that's a bit of a tricky one. But yeah, Saar scored against Arsenal even, so I think that goes down to just show that it's not necessarily who you're playing against; it's the form that they're in. So yeah, I think Saar would be my number one. I think he would be a class differential. Ahmad is definitely in there. I don't know if that's just the City game though, and that's clouded my judgment because the Bournemouth game certainly brought me back down to earth with his transfer in. So that remains to be seen whether that's a good shout. But he does seem to be someone that can do something and pull his finger out of nowhere. So yeah, that'll be my number 2. Rodgers, of course, very consistent. So he probably has a shout for being higher than number 3. But I've just thought of him, so he's going to have to go in number 3.
Nice.
And then who were the other 2? We had Enzo. Enzo's number 5 for me, so I don't even know who's number 4. But whoever you said the other one was, he's definitely going in ahead of Enzo, in my opinion.
So I won't be above Enzo.
Say again.
A Wobie above Enzo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what? I like Chelsea's fixtures more than Fulham's, but I don't think Fulham's fixtures are necessarily awful, are they?
They're not terrible. No, they're all right.
No. I just don't think Iwobi's all that good in front of goal. I think a few times I see he's got a few attacking returns, and I see the goals. And he's tried that quite a few times, and 99% of the time it doesn't come off. So you know what? I'm gonna put Enzo over Iwobi, but I'm gonna put Jacob Murphy in 4th.
Oh my god!
I honestly think I think he's in better form. I think Enzo's in a better team, but I just don't think he's in that position on the pitch to get those goal scoring opportunities.
All right, okay. There wasn't too much between the expected goal involvement this weekend. That's all I'm gonna say.
What? And how many goals and assists did Enzo get?
0. But did you see?
There we go. Moving on.
Did you see the assist he pulled out the bag? How's he doing that? I would just say though, he has just played Leicester, Brentford, and Ipswich, 3 of the worst defences in the league this season.
True. Yeah, very true. But you've got to do it against those kinds of teams. So we'll see who have Chelsea got next. Is it Fulham? Am I right?
Yeah, then Ipswich.
Well, then we'll see how things go. But I feel like with Ipswich, I think that's in my head more of a Cole Palmer day.
Okay.
Than an Enzo day.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see though.
All right. Okay. Who did you have as your number 1 then?
Saar.
Okay. I do like Saar as an option. I think he could be really explosive.
He's just the biggest differential as well. And I think he's come out of nowhere. He was class against Brighton. He scored against Arsenal, so he knows where the back of the net is at the moment, despite the team he's playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that's a bad shout at all.
Okay, all right. Let's move on then. Let's take a look at predicted points from Fantasy Football Hub over the next 5 game weeks. The top 3, Salah, Palmer, Haaland. So maybe having all 3 of those is the way to go, maybe, with the predicted points looking like that.
God, they're so desperate for Haaland, aren't they? Just like me.
They are frothing for Haaland.
I swear, every game week we've probably seen Haaland at the top. If you looked at the Hub predictor from the start of the season, he was right up there with Salah, and for the first few game weeks he was outperforming him. Then say game week 7, let's say. For the next 5 games, Haaland's top of this.
Yeah.
He absolutely stunk it up. So, yeah. He's slow. They're finally showing a little bit of respect to Palmer. He's gone ahead of Haaland, and deservedly so. Because I do feel like as much as you can look at the games coming and say it's only a matter of time before City hit the ground running again, and Haaland finds the back of the net in a consistent way again, I think you've got to go on current form and give Palmer the respect he deserves, and that is the fact that he is the second most likely player to get a big haul every single week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't mind that. Isak, I think there's a shout for him as well. He's in better form than Haaland is. When I watched the Liverpool game against Newcastle, he dictated the play from the number 9 position, which was really impressive to see. Everything seems to run through him, it seems, and yeah, after scoring a hat trick, who's to say you can't emulate? Emulate, is that a word? I feel
Yeah,
like
that's a word. That's a
emulate.
word. Emulate, I think.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
copy Haaland's start of season form and get back-to-back hat tricks.
Yeah. Hopefully so. Hopefully so. Some other interesting names that we spoke on there about with the replacements for Saka. Bruno Fernandes quite high up on that list. We obviously spoke about Foden as well. He's on there. Ahmed right down the bottom as well as a potential option. He's the standout option between those cheap ones. And then Sarr. He's quite high up on that list, to be honest. I will say that for him. So maybe the hub's got a little bit of a rod on for him as well.
Yeah, they really have, and he's very cheap.
Very cheap indeed.
Maybe it isn't Hazy week after all.
Yeah, Mateta was the one as well I was looking at for Cunha next week as well.
Not bad. He's quite expensive for what he is, though, I think.
Yeah, he is. If he was around 6.5, he'd be a lot more appetising.
100%, 100%. Yeah, that's the only thing. How much do you say is Jesus on there? I can't see.
No, Jesus isn't on there, but he's 6.7.
See, something like that. I mean, I guess you're paying for the fact that Mateta's not on 4 yellow cards, maybe.
Yeah.
Although I actually don't know that for a fact, so.
I think he's not. I don't think.
Don't hold me accountable. He doesn't seem like someone that really gets back that much to kick people.
No, not really. Any other standouts on there that you want to talk about?
Eze's still somehow on there, considering he's not got any kind of attack in return for a couple of years now.
Yeah, the Fantasy Football Hub model absolutely rimlicks him, doesn't it? It's got a massive rod on for him. So
yeah. Mbeumo, I get why he's on there. Home form, he'd be at the top. Away form, he would be nowhere to be seen. But yeah, he balances out quite nicely. And Solanke, I'd actually say it's probably worth if you can afford an extra 0.3 mil. I think Solanke is a much better player, has a much better chance of recording a higher haul over the next 5 game weeks than Mateta.
Ooh.
I know the hub predictor think otherwise, but I think Solanke will get more points than Mateta over the next 4 game weeks.
Big call.
Even when Spurs are conceding goals, they still find goals themselves, and he's got into a little bit of a groove. I think Solanke, even when they have been a bit abysmal defensively.
Yeah. To answer your question there, Tom, we are 25 subscribers away from 11,000, which is, it's a bit wild. Around this time last year, me and Jake were basically just talking to a man and a dog,
yeah. I think bloody Robin's Roundup had more of a viewing than
exactly. Robin's Roundup's the OG, really, isn't it, mate?
If anyone wants to see any old content of the boys.
Yeah, whatever you do not head to Ashton United Football Club and put Robin's Roundup in. Whatever you do not do that, because you might see 2 young gentlemen, one with straight hair, one
with hair.
One with hair, one with straight hair. One built like a twig, and one who had a chiseled jawline, like immaculate. Was a very, very attractive young man. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to go back and look at that.
Well, next up, what's our next part of this then? Is it Take Me Away?
It is Take Me Away, mate. Take me away. Basically, next up is your favourite, lad. It's the head-to-head records.
Very nice.
So the Haaland propaganda is probably going to be quite strong on this one because he's got the best head-to-head record out of everybody in this list. Interestingly, Salah's not got a great record against Leicester.
No.
1
3. Yeah, it's not. That's a bit poor, that actually.
I think someone might have found it already in the chat. Uh-oh.
Oh, bloody hell.
Uh-oh.
Bloody
Yeah.
hell, lad. You're being made to wait for this tyre, aren't you?
Yeah. You must be really bored, Tom, if you've gone and found Robin's roundup. Gee, I'm
Oh.
honestly, mate, I'm looking at a screenshot here. We look completely different. I'll load it up, right? You talk about the players head to heads, and I'll load up a screenshot of me and you. Ready for people, yeah?
All right, well, yeah, like you said, it does seem like Haaland's got the best run, but I guess at the end of the day, as much as I would love to bank on the fact that Haaland's got the best head-to-head record, and the teams like to play against teams that they've got good records against. There's no doubt in that. I think you've got to kind of take form into account, and I do think Salah outweighs that with Haaland at the moment. I also feel like head-to-head records are more impactful on players that are playing at the away ground. So I think that's what I was kind of trying to argue is that when a player, especially a striker, is going to a ground that he knows he's good at, then he'll hit different or he'll be right up for it. Whereas when you're at home, he's got a good record maybe, but he's probably scored a few against Everton home and away. I don't think home form makes a difference. I think when you're at home, you're just as good as your current form. I don't really think the club really makes too much of a difference. So with the head-to-head, I think the likes of Haaland and Salah, it kind of goes out the window. Are Chelsea at home this weekend? Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So Haaland, Salah, Palmer, very different. Very different ratios to how they've played in the games against the sides that they're playing this game week. But all of them being at home means that they're just going to be as good as their form is, whether that be team or individual. So I don't think there's much to judge on that. I think Bruno Fernandes away at Wolves would have had more of a case to claim, but he's not scored. Got a few assists, not too bad. But yeah, I think it's more for the players that are going to visiting. They're in the away team, they're in the away dressing room, and they can reminisce over the times that they scored 1, 2, 3 times against this club at this stadium, how it felt. I think that's when this head-to-head record really has that differential opportunity.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
It's
was
like,
ridiculous, wasn't it?
yeah, scored his second goal in however many years, and his first was also against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. So maybe there is some method into this madness. Who knows? Who knows indeed. Right. I accidentally loaded it up while you were speaking on the wrong one. So I just need to reload it on a different one. What minute was it? 6:53. Okay, right. Give me a second. This is groundbreaking stuff for anybody.
Bloody hell.
They're all going to be like, bloody hell, what's going off?
Who is this guy?
Who is this loser? I don't want to get demonetized. Not now, anyway. I need 650.
What do you think of Luis Diaz and Trent in for Saka and Aït-Nouri?
Right, lad, are you ready? There you go.
I don't mind that. Oh, man.
Oh, where's it gone? It disappeared when I came off it.
I can see it.
There you go. Can you see it?
I think so, yeah.
I think everyone on the stream can see it as well. There we are, 2 young men.
Wow.
What do you think to those chappers, eh?
Yeah, it's a little bit the Jake Gyllenhaal, isn't it?
A little bit.
Or Alex Turner.
Apparently it's made the audio go very dodgy. Whoops.
I can still hear you. Oh, actually, no, it's because I'm on Skype.
Yeah, you're on Skype, mate. You can hear us. Probably the audio and everybody else. Apparently sound's not working now. There we go. That's how good it is. All right. There we go. I'll turn it off. I tried something nice. It didn't work, did it?
You're probably just speaking to me now.
Yeah. It's just like a radio show now. Try speaking now.
Hello.
I mean, it looks fine on our end.
Oh, shall I turn this off? Let's turn this off.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fine on my end. I can literally see like all the dials moving and stuff. It's like
Cool.
Jamie says his sound is fine.
You said it sounds fine.
Yeah, Jamie says we're back to being fine. Yeah, I think we're fine, mate.
Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think you're fine now.
Yeah, I think we're all good now, aren't we?
Oh yeah, no, it does seem to come on and then go off.
Oh, weird. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, lad, it's fully fallen off. Can you hear this?
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll just have to leave it there then. I
Yeah.
guess.
All right.
All right. Okay. It looks like we might be having some audio issues. I don't know why, because everything on my side looks correct, set up correctly. Like I can see the audio is moving, but it isn't. So
At least it's fucked up at the end.
it has fucked up at the end, which is all the main thing. If anybody can hear us, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Any final thoughts from you, Jake, that people might hear or might not hear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, brilliant.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
no, I've not. Have a good Christmas to everyone.
Yeah, have a very Merry Christmas. I'll get my team video in and out. Oh, in and out every 3 seconds. Weird. All right, hopefully it fixes itself in the new year, but I'll have to take a look at that. All right, I'll see you in a bit, guys. No worries. Bye-bye.